Grand Rising, I'm Ron Usha, and welcome to show number 25 on Conversations on Art, a show where friends get together to talk about their art, their creativity, and hopefully we can learn from each other and maybe even inspire each other. Today on the show, I have a friend who I haven't seen for a long time. Grand Rising, Lana.
Grand Risings, Ron.
Lana, thank you for coming on, and it's a pleasure to see you. It's been so long, and thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking.
I've got a bio which Lana sent me, which I'll read, and then we get into some questions. Lana is the founder and director of Urban Play, a dance company offering regular classes, dance schools, after-school clubs, workshops, and parties. Lana has been a professional street hip-hop breakdancer and choreographer for over 20 years. In that time, she has enjoyed working on a diverse array of projects, ranging from global corporations, music videos, West End and fringe theatre, music artists, theatrical productions, and corporate clients. Lana's performance work has taken her to many countries throughout the world. Credits include The Royal Variety Show, BBC, Nike, The Black Eyed Peas, Dizzy Rascal, Zoo Nation, Muller, PlayStation, Children in Need, Top of the Pops, EastEnders, and CD UK. Lana's professionalism and unique style of choreography has enabled her to work with some high-profile clients. Credits include Calvin Klein, Guitar Hero 3, Pizza Hut, and Sony. As well as performing and creating choreography, Lana has an extensive teaching history. Her choreography is taught to young people in schools, dance schools, and youth and charity projects throughout the UK, as well as to adults and professional dancers. Credits include Move It, dance exhibitions, Be Supreme, various borough councils, Sainsbury's, Active Kids, Met Summer Camps. So Lana, sometimes I ask Lana, when did you start dancing? Or has it been something that you've always done?
Yeah, definitely something I've always done. I kind of thought you were going to ask me that question. I'm thinking I don't remember a time where dancing started. It's just always been there. It's always, if there's music, I move to it. So I don't remember, there was no moment where it began. It's just kind of always been there and been inside me.
I think so, isn't it? Because sometimes these things just come like naturally. So even the question, where do you start? I guess it's like you hear a beat and you move your feet, isn't it, really? And it's not, it doesn't have a really beginning process.
No, not for me anyway.
So were you taken to dance classes by your parents?
I did go to dance classes, yes. My first dance class I went to, I was about 4 years old, and we went to the local youth centre, which was in a community hall, and it was disco dancing classes. And I loved it. I just loved it. And then yeah, the rest is history, as they say. I was hooked.
Do you know what? There's something about disco which will stay with me to the very end. It's something, isn't it, really?
Yeah, you can't not move to disco. You can't. You have to dance to it. You have to.
You and I, when we met, I was into breakdancing, or I had done some breakdancing beforehand, and you introduced me to the new names because I think I was
Oh
quite old school.
yeah.
Do you remember? I called, you call it six step, I call it crazy legs.
Like,
Yeah. So how did you get into breakdance and the music?
so I think the music came before breakdancing. So I've always been into sort of funk and hip hop. But I was on a music video set working as a dancer, and there were some break dancers there, and I dabbled a little bit. I was so young though. I dabbled a little bit in the 80s, just in my school discos and stuff. But I didn't think people were still doing it. So it wasn't until I then was on the set of this music video and I saw these guys. I was like, "Oh my God, this is so cool! You're still doing it. I want to learn. I want to get involved." I chatted to them and trained with them. They taught me what they knew.
Did you watch the movie Breakdance and Beat Street? Was that part of your kind of learning? How do we say it? A film which has been played and rewound many times.
The Breakers Bible. Yeah, of course, of course. I've still got them on VHS. Yeah, they're great films. Really, really good films. And great music as well. Great soundtrack in those films. Yeah, I love them. I love them.
So what I love about one of the things about breaking was that everyone can go in. You got a circle and you can show your moves. And if you did it to the best that you could do, everyone was like, yeah, and give you credit. Did you find it as well in the breaking world, as we call it?
Definitely, definitely. I think it has changed now, but when I was learning and when I was battling and stuff, it was just respect because everyone had been a beginner. Everyone had to learn these moves. Everyone respected you, even if all you could do was a top rock and a six step. They still gave you props and they still respected you and they still, cheered you on and encouraged you.
Yeah, because I think that was the kind of premise to beginning to actually the evolution of breaking, wasn't it? It was gangs who, rather instead of fighting, got together and got crews together and started breaking. And I think that's one of the kind of extraordinary things about breakdance. And from there, you got the graffiti, you got the music, it's got the way of dress, the lifestyle as well. It's really unique.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know your five elements, Ran?
No, can you?
The
What are the five elements?
five elements of hip hop.
Oh, okay then.
Do you know
Well,
them?
so, what so you got the breaking, the
Yeah,
graffiti,
yeah.
the music, the
No,
clothes.
no, no.
Okay. Oh, okay. Lana, please enlighten me.
So you've got breaking,
Yes,
you've got beatboxing,
of course.
you've got graffiti,
Yes,
you've got DJing,
of course.
and rapping. They are your five elements of hip hop. Run, you let me down.
Lana, some of the old school guys are gonna be on me now for not remember. Oh my days. That is also apologies to the hip hop old school. Sorry, I've been out for. In fact, that's no excuse, Lana, to say that I've been out. That's
No excuse, they're
I
on
would say, can you keep that between us? But obviously, that's not happening, is it? Really?
No, I mean, not a lot of people who are really into the hip hop don't know that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And while I was thinking about having you on for the show, it reminded me of that evening we went to the Africa Centre. Do you remember? And it was my return out of retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just so cool. But what the extraordinary thing is now is the moves that they're doing now, which are moves that I don't think I ever even imagined were possible.
No, it's true. The stuff they do now is insane. It's insane. They can almost fly now. They're like superheroes. It's crazy. And it keeps on changing and changing. Since I was learning, it's changed a lot since, when you were learning, it's changed when I was learning, it's changed. And now, and even you were talking about the names being changed from between you and my learning, and they've changed again. So it's just evolving all the time.
So
And it's
it's
going to be in the
so
Olympics as well, which is great.
so is six step no longer six step, or is that
Six
still
step is still six step.
okay then?
For example, I used to call them handstand hops, hand
Okay,
hops,
yes.
and then they're called skyscrapers.
Okay then.
Someone was talking about skyscrapers. Like, what's skyscraper? Oh, hand hops. Okay, yeah, I know those. So it just evolves all the time.
So what do you think about it? The way it's moving on, and you said the Olympics, and what do you think about that?
I think it's great that it has a massive platform like that, so more people can know about it, see about it, get involved with it. The one thing that worries me about it being in the Olympics is that it will lose the artistry, it will lose the freeness. I mean, I'm not sure how they're going to be marking it or judging it, because normally it's the crowd, isn't it? The crowd. So
So,
I'm not sure. That's the only thing that worries me about it. But for breakdance to have a platform like that is amazing. It can only be a good thing.
yeah, because it was always the people watching who gave you credit and
Yeah,
they told you who won.
yeah.
And so how would you score? Because there's so many different styles. If you're popping and you've got a unique style, how do you score that to someone who pops a bit and breaks a bit? It's very, yeah, how it seems to be just, how would you even score that?
I think, again, I don't know, but I think that you wouldn't allow to be a popper and go into the circle. You wouldn't be allowed to be a locker and go into the circle, because I think that's too hard to judge. I think it would have to be pure breakdance.
And also, I think in that there are some breakers who may not be technically as good, but can do the advanced move, but they have a flow which goes with the music. So that those two are completely different, aren't they? The ones who can do the what they call the really advanced skills, and the ones who are technically good, but they actually go with the flow of the music as well.
So for me personally, I would always go for the person who had the best musicality, the one that used the music and danced to the beat. I wouldn't go for the person who does 3 backflips and 3 air flares. Although the crowd would go, "Oh, that's so impressive." As a dancer, that's not dancing. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. So when you are doing your dance classes, what effect and changes have you seen from people who first enter your classes into being with you for a while and how they progress?
So some people will come for the first time and never come back because they don't expect it, especially with the breakdancing. People don't expect it to be as hard as it is. People see professionals or people who are good at it doing it and go, "Oh, that looks really good. That looks really easy." And then they come to a class and they're like, "Ooh!" Because it's a lot more physical than I think people believe it's going to be. So some people are like, they'll do one class and that'll be it. They'll never come back. And then other people love it and get hooked, and you do see them progress, and you do see them. I mean, I've got people who started out with me, never done breakdancing before, started out in my breakdance classes, and they're now battling and are better than me. So it's really good.
I've met many adults who have said to me, I can't dance because, I'm not good at dancing. I'm not very good in school. They told me I wasn't good. And they have a mental block in regards to dancing. How do you work with that?
Well, firstly, everybody can dance. It's just that some people have a more natural ability than others, but everybody can dance. So I never, take that as read. So no, you can dance. You just need to try it, and then you'll see. And you just have to work with them. You just have to work with them on a level that suits them. So you wouldn't get them doing advanced stuff. I mean, for example, I had a class last week, and we spent a lot of the class just clapping in time to the music, just so we can feel the rhythm and get used to it. So once you can then feel the rhythm, then you can tell your body what to do.
Do you incorporate other styles, so like jazz and tap, into your dance classes as well?
No, because I've never done tap. But I will. My speciality is street hip hop breakdance, so I will fuse all of those styles together. Um, but that is really my thing. I don't know enough about the other styles, and I haven't experienced them enough to fuse those in as well. Um, yeah, not in my classes. For other projects, I will look into other styles. But in my classes, generally, we focus on the street styles, definitely.
So how does one, so you begin, how do you actually get into dance as regards to making it a living from it? How would you go about that? I mean, so where's the the progression? You do your dance classes and you become more skilled. Would you go?
It depends. Some people will have danced all their life, so they'll be going to all of the dance classes, all of the styles, then they'll go to dance college and progress that way. Usually through dance college, through that avenue, you'll get an agent, and then the agent will get you work. I didn't go down that route. I freestyled it. So I didn't ever think it was possible for me to be a professional dancer because I hadn't gone to dance school and I hadn't taken that route. And it was after my sister sadly passed away that I was like, life's too short. I'm just going to give it a go. So I just went for it. And I mean, it's much easier now. Back in the day, we had the stage newspaper. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So all the auditions are in the back of the stage. So you'd look at the auditions, you'd rock up to an audition and just hope for the best. But it's much easier now. There are loads of companies on the internet that put out, I mean, even on Facebook and stuff, there'll be auditions and things. So it's much easier for people now to get a chance and to get noticed. And you don't need an equity card, which you did when I was starting out. So yeah, so it's much easier for people now. You've just got to go for it. Just give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose.
What's it like going to auditions?
Really scary. The first, I mean, you get used to it, obviously, but the first few I went to, oh, so nervous. So nervous. And for me, I was in a room of people who'd been training for 20 years, you know what I mean? And there was just me, oh, I'm a self-taught freestyler. You know what I mean? Here I am doing my thing. So yeah, it was quite intimidating. And they were all really quick at picking up choreography because they'd been trained to do it. I was rubbish wrong. So bad. Yeah, I was really bad. So, I mean, luckily I could freestyle. So most of my jobs I got was from freestyling. So they teach you the combination.
Yes.
Generally, I wouldn't get it. And then they give you a moment at the end of the combination to freestyle. And so, yeah, that's how I got most of my jobs.
Because you see sometimes, you know, I've seen from TV and they say, okay, this, now go. And you think, how do you even remember? Is that something that is kind of over time becomes a skill that you learn how to watch that and then actually execute the move?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I think that's why the people who trained were so good at it, because they've been doing that for so many years. But it is something you can learn. Yeah, but you do need to have a quick instinct for picking it up.
Because I guess to the outsider, that can look quite scary, you know, someone saying, do this, and you're expected to just kind of perform it. I mean, it's
Well,
very intimidating.
they teach you about 30 seconds of choreography just once and then expect you to do it. And you're like, sorry, can you show me the first move again? Whereas everyone else in the room's going bam, 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 bam. And I'm like,
But is everybody in the room kind of thinking, I wonder if she got it? Did I get it? Yeah, have I got it? Yes. Is she? All right. Is that go on?
Well, I mean, I think everyone has that sort of, I don't know if it's real confidence or a false confidence, but they're all there. I've got it. Do you know what I mean? Giving it the, yeah, I've got this. Whereas I was a bit like,
I guess that's the thing as well in breakdance, street dance. We hear this word and it's become kind of mainstream now, attitude. Can you go into that? The attitude of it.
Well, I mean, if you're doing some of the hip hop moves, especially something like crumping, if you're doing that sort of with a big cheesy grin and jazz hands, it doesn't work. So you do need to have just a little bit of just to make the style work. It's you know, similarly, if you're doing Charleston with a frown on your face, it wouldn't work, would it? So you kind of, I mean, you have to adopt your face and your expression to the style you're doing. Otherwise, it's a bit discombobulating. So what's going on there? But it's just acting. That's all it is. It's just acting.
Can you tell us about your style? Because you wrote that you have a unique style and how that style has evolved over the years.
So I am very, I'm very, can I make a noise? Because I can't describe it.
Go
I'm
ahead.
very with my dancing. So if that means anything to you, that's what I am. So I'm less, I'm more, and it's probably just because it makes me feel good. So everything I do comes from inside, and it's that drives my style and that drives my creativity. Um, yes, I didn't explain that very well. Sorry, Ron.
No, but do you know what? You feel it because even when you're talking, you're doing, and we know what that means. You can, yeah, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, I guess, isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
unspoken rhythm and beat to it.
yeah. And music plays a massive part for me. If I don't feel the music, then I can't dance to it. I remember, I remember, I used to do a lot of podium work in clubs. And I can't even remember which club it was, but I was in this club doing my thing because then you have to dance to music that's perhaps not your favourite. But I remember Bob the Builder came on, and my entire body just went to walk off. I'm working. I have to stay and dance to Bob the Builder. Oh, yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Your body was like saying, no. No.
Bob the Builder, no.
Tell us about that. I guess doing jobs that or music that sometimes you don't really like, but you do it and you get paid for it. Can you talk about that, please?
There's been a lot of those. I mean, really, unless it's your own project as a dancer, same as actors and musicians, you're a puppet. You're basically doing somebody else's work for them, unless you're freestyling. But I think you have to accept that as a dancer. So the love of dance gets me through that. The way dance makes me feel, whether it's to a song I hate or it's moves I hate, the way dance makes me feel gets me over that. So it's not really been a problem because I'm A, happy to be dancing, B, happy to have a job. So, but of course it happens.
Yeah. I like what you said there. A, you're happy to be dancing. I guess that's just the passion for dance, isn't it? I
Mm.
mean, I guess that comes through with anything. I guess whether you're a beginner or you've been doing it a long time. Because I think when you see people dance, sing, perform with that passion, it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think you could do it as a job if you didn't have the passion, because it's a harsh industry and it can be quite soul destroying. And if you don't have the passion, you probably won't last.
Can you talk about that in regards to, I guess, in all these fields, rejection is part of the life of it. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get rejected more than you are going to get offered a job. So you have to come to terms with that. But when I first started, because I knew nobody in the industry and didn't really know what I was doing, I would walk out of auditions crying, just going, "Oh, what am I doing? Why am I trying to do this? This is awful." And then the more you do it, the more you realize. I mean, you'd be in the room and they'd need 2 or 3 girls, and there'd be 300 girls in the room. So it's like your odds aren't really there anyway. But you grow a thick skin. And I've been too tall, too short, too fat, too thin. I've been everything. Your face is wrong, or your foot's not right, or something. But you just grow a thick skin and you just let it wash over you. And that's why you need the passion. You need to love dance. Otherwise, that is going to destroy you.
Is there even things that you learn from the rejection as well?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of the time, you don't get feedback. So a lot of the time, you are just going, "I'm rubbish. Oh no, what am I doing?" So it is hard. If you got feedback, then it would make you be able to work on it, or at least understand why you got rejected or didn't get the job. And sometimes you look at the people who did get the job and be like, well, I would never have got that job if that's who they've chosen. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's, it's, in all cases, isn't it? If you're in a feedback-rich environment, it could really stimulate you, and just one or two words from somebody pointing out small things, constructive, can elevate you to a totally different level.
Yeah, definitely. But you rarely get, I mean, you don't even get to speak to the people who are giving you the job, or well, potentially giving you the job. Sometimes you walk into the room and they'll say, next. You haven't even danced, Ron. You haven't even danced. I'm like, no. You're like, oh, okay.
Really? So you walked in and you stood there and they said next?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a harsh environment, isn't it?
Oh, it's really tough.
How long did it take you to grow what you call the thick skin to be able to move on to the next audition? Was it a while of learning about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really put a time frame on it. Just by just by keep getting rejected. But then you come to understand that it's not you. Do you know what I mean? It's not you personally. It's, they wanted a blonde dancer for that job, or they wanted an Asian dancer for that job, or do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, you never would have got that anyway, so it's okay. And then when you do start getting jobs, that boosts your confidence. So you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. Someone does appreciate the way I dance. So yeah.
Is it that once you get a job, then you get recognized and you get other jobs from that job? Is that how it works as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was harder for me because I didn't have an agent. If you have an agent, the agent will give you jobs because the agent will have a relationship with the producers and all that kind of thing. But yeah, the longer you stay in the industry and the more work you get, the more jobs you do, then the more work you will get. Obviously, if you're good at your job and you're a nice person. If you're rubbish and you're horrible to everyone, that's not going to work.
So, can you talk about you now as a teacher and a coach? How did you start your business? And where are you now with it?
So I never set out to teach dance. It sounds bizarre because that's what I do. I first started teaching when I went to my local youth club in Surrey, and I was probably about 11 or 12. I used to teach the younger kids. So I used to teach the sort of 5 and 6-year-olds, and found I was quite good at creating dance routines. And then I used to do the choreography for my school plays. And then I've always sort of taught alongside performing because the teaching was regular income. So at least you were getting paid. And then when I decided to leave the industry, I was a bit, because I know I could still dance even if it's at home, so I would always dance, but I couldn't really do anything else. I didn't really have any other skills. So I was like, okay. And I didn't know, because I have such a passion for dance, I don't know that I would have passion for another, another career. And I didn't know what that career might be. So I just decided to set up Urban Play. Because I teach anyway, I have that experience, and people were contacting me for teaching, and I thought, well, if I've got a company and a website, it's going to be easier for people to find me. So that's how it started in 2012. I'll be 10 years old next September. Well, I won't be, but Urban Play will be.
Why did you give up for that time?
Why did I give up dancing professionally?
Yeah, for that small period of time you said you stopped dancing.
I just didn't like the industry anymore. It's not a nice industry. If you're in the commercial world, it's different. If you're working with a company, it's different. But if you're in the commercial world, it's not nice. And, you know, people will stab you in the back and you'll find a space to perform in the audition and they'll come and stand right in front of you and block your space so you can't dance. And I'd work with people, see them the next week at an audition, say, hey, how you doing? And they would just blank you. It's just like, So I don't, and then, you know, I was getting older, so then I'd be in a room full of 18-year-olds at 35, and you're like, do I really want to be spending my time with 18-year-olds? So it just got a bit, oof.
I see.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like, you know, kind of you fall into these things, like you just one day you're doing something you love and one day you're teaching it and you don't actually know when the teaching started. It just seemed to be a kind of seamless flow.
Yeah, I've just always taught, even when I wasn't dancing professionally, even when I had like a full-time 9 to 5 job, I was still teaching dance. So it's kind of always been there.
I remember once, I don't know if you recall, there's a song I really liked and we worked on a little routine. Do you remember her?
No, what was the song?
yeah. I don't know the song, but we worked on a routine, and you know, and it's so cool when you and another person have got a kind of routine and you got it set. Yeah, so we did that for one day. I say I can remember the song, and I'll get to you about that. But how do you create your choreography, and what influences do you get from outside to, and you put it into your choreography?
A lot of people ask me after they've been to my class, which really annoys me, where can I find this on YouTube? It's like, well, it's not on YouTube. Where can I get it? Well, it's not. Why is it not on YouTube? So because I created it from here. It's not on YouTube. You can't. It's mine. And they're like, oh. It's like, how do you think it's going to happen? But for me, it's music. It's always music first for me. I'm heavily, heavily led by music and beats. I remember Missy Elliott's beats changed my life. I'd never heard beats like that before. And that was just like, whoa. And I loved it. But yeah, it's beats. I know, like, obviously you go and see a show and you might see a cool move and think, yeah, I like that. But most of it comes from me in here and in here.
It comes to you, you feel it, and then you try it, yes? And then you see how it works to the move. Is that how it works?
So sometimes I'll hear a song and just know that I have to choreograph to it. I just know that I have to, and I can kind of already see what's happening in that song already before my body's even let loose. But yeah, so what I tend to do, depends what I'm creating and who I'm creating it for, but what I tend to do is freestyle and see what my body does, and then try and put that into moves and into counts and into a routine. But it comes from here. That's where it comes from, and then here. Here first, then here.
So basically, it's your body's intelligence and your body's knowing already. Is it that your body can feel it already? It's just you just working out what the body kind of already knows the beat, knows the move.
And I need to have clarity if I'm then going to teach it to someone else. And it also needs to be clear for an audience as well, because sometimes just freestyling is too much for an audience. They need a bit of light and dark and tempo changes and that kind of thing.
Yes, because I guess as well, when you're teaching it, it may be one move. I'll do the little, can I do a wave? Lana.
Yes, John, you got it.
Lana, firstly, thank you for this trip down Amnesia Lane.
We're going to have to go out dancing now, Ron, right? We're going to have to.
Because I'm thinking that, how would you even teach that? Because that's about, the wave is 3 or 4 moves, isn't it? It's 3 or 4 bits to, if you're going to break it to a complete beginner.
Yeah. It's quite easy to, that's the thing with popping, is actually quite easy. the moves are not complex, but it's the training of it that takes the time. You have to train it to make it look like popping. But so do you want me to give you a little
Yes, please.
demo? So I'll just do one arm. So
Yeah.
you do fingers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest, shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers. Yeah, so that's how I teach the arm wave. And then you can see it going through all those parts, can't you, as you do it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it is teachable.
Well, hopefully the breakdance elders will stay me for this one, because I learned on the street, Lana. I learned on the street. No classes here.
Well, so did I, Ron. I mean, I learned from other poppers. I learned from other breakers.
Yeah.
There weren't really any classes. Then I do remember going to a workshop. I can't remember what it was, but there was a breakdance workshop, and I learned how to do the shoulder freeze in that workshop. But yeah, no, you just learn from other dancers, and sometimes that's the best way to learn.
That's the thing, isn't it? You're watching these guys and you're kind of got an eye out, you know, you're looking at how's he doing that, how's he doing that, how's he putting the move together. It's, you know, it really is, because I guess a lot of people don't realize the work that these guys are putting into hours and hours and hours a day to get these moves like it is.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough. You've got to, and I don't train anymore, and I've lost a lot of my skills, which is really upsetting. But you have to train, and you have to keep training, otherwise you lose it, and you lose your strength as well. It's yeah, you've got to put you've got to have the passion for it. If you haven't got the passion, you're not going to bother to learn, are you?
Yeah. So even now, I guess that it wouldn't take you too long to get back into groove, would it? If you,
I mean, I can still do,
yeah.
you know, I can still throw down. I still got some moves. Sometimes your back goes, and your knees go, and your ankles go,
That's like that evening at the Africa Centre when I did the crazy legs and I kind of limped away with a groin puller.
Yeah, so annoying. So annoying.
Yeah, I mean, because you watch it, and I think now as well, they've incorporated a lot of gymnastics, haven't they, in their moves. What do you think about that in regards to bringing in all these other disciplines?
Well, better than that is gymnastics now do air flares. I've seen air flares in the Olympic gymnastics, so for me that's better. People will, I think, flips and tricks and stuff will always please the crowd. I know it's not strictly breakdancing, but it will always please the crowd. And it is a good skill to have. And especially if you are doing it as a career, you know, are you going to pick the person who can do a somersault or the person who can't do a somersault?
Can you tell us about the strength it takes to pull off some of these moves?
A lot of strength. A lot of strength. People don't appreciate how fit dancers are, and this is dancers across all styles. They are super fit, they're athletes. And especially if you're doing some of those super hard moves. For example, flares. I never got flares because I didn't have the strength. It's so, so tough. You need core strength, you need upper body strength, you need power, so you need good quads. Yeah, it's really, really tough. And you have to train a lot. And not just breakdance moves, you have to train your body to be able to then do the breakdance moves. So if you're not very strong, you're not going to be able to do those moves.
I remember doing that, or I won't say I was doing it, but I attempt to, you know, the one hand on the floor and the spin on the one hand.
Yeah.
And when I was doing it, getting half a spin, you're giving credit.
Yeah.
Now they're going round forever, and you just think, it seems to be even their bodies are defying gravity in what they're doing.
Yeah, it's incredible. It is incredible, but they are training a lot. They're training 8 hours a day, every day. you have to put the hours in, otherwise it won't happen. And your body won't be able to, your body physically won't be able to do it. If you haven't got, you need strong wrists as well. So if you haven't got strong wrists, as soon as you even go into a baby freeze or a turtle, your wrists are going to go. So yeah, it takes a lot. Even I say this to people all the time, even the easy basic breakdance moves are hard. They're tough, they're not easy. Even the basic fundamentals are hard.
Yes. It makes you think that, where is it going to go to next? The next evolution of breaking, because it's come so far, and the technique and what they're doing now. I mean, I just don't even know where they're going to go to. Sometimes I watch things. I might see the World Breakdance Championship, and I watched one guy he seemed like he was contorted in his body. I can't remember his name. He's pulling off moves that his elbows and arms seem to unlock themselves from each other, and it was incredible.
Well, I mean, people used to do stuff on their hands, but now they're doing it on their wrists. So the same moves you'd be doing on the palm of your hand, they're doing on their wrists or on their elbows. And you're just like, what? And it's youth as well. There's a kid called B-Boy Lorenzo who's wicked, and he's only young. I think he's from Holland. And the stuff he can do is insane. And he's about 11 or 12 years old. Makes you sick, Brian. Makes you sick. Sorry, Ron. Makes you sick.
I remember in school once, and of course I was a PE teacher, and sometimes we would show like athletes, Usain Bolt and so on, winning Olympics, or somebody win a medal or so on. But I thought, I'm missing out when I'm showing them this. This is only the 0.5% of their life. The 99.5% is the agony, it's the tears, it's the throwing up, it's the, I can't do it, those kind of things. So we started to find training videos of the athletes rather than showing them the end result. And I think doing that, they learned so much that it wasn't always about the end result, it's the kind of process to get there.
Definitely. And you will hurt, you will get injured, you will get bruised. But when you've mastered that move, there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling.
Can you tell us about a move that you tried and then mastered? And
The
you
funniest
got that
one,
feeling. Yeah.
the
And you got that
funniest
feeling.
one is the backspin. For some reason, when I was trying to learn it, I just couldn't comprehend how my legs made me spin. It just didn't get in my head. So I spent months just flailing my legs about, trying to spin, flailing. And then one day I got rotation. I was like that, and it all just clicked. And you're like, yes, I understand. Now I can spin on my back. But it just takes try, and then suddenly your body goes, there it is. And you're like, oh, I've got it. Thank goodness. Yeah.
What is it like when you're working with someone and you're maybe teaching them and you see that click happen?
It's amazing. It's really good because they're almost in disbelief when it happens. Did that just happen? Did I just do that? It's a brilliant thing to witness. It really is. And then you also remember how that feels yourself. So yeah. And then I say to them, do it 4 more times. You can't just do it once. You have to do it again and again and again. So your body understands that feeling.
Is it as well that you do a move and you get that click, you get it, and you do it, and then sometime later you seem to lose it? So what is that about? Because it seems to happen in all disciplines that you get it and then you think you've lost it and then you try and get it back, but then you have to relax and kind of, I know I can do it and do it. Can you take us through that, Lana?
Yeah, I think we're all human, so we're going to make mistakes, and we're not robots. We're not going to be able to, churn things out exactly at the same time every time we want to do it. The first time you do it, I think it's always a surprise. You're not expecting it because you've failed so many times before. You're not expecting it to happen when it does happen. So I think there's that, oh, and then you try again and it fails, and then you start to think to yourself, oh, it was a fluke. I actually can't do the move. It just happened on that one time for luck. But I always tell them, if you know you can do it, if you've done it once, you can definitely do it again because you've done it already. But it's a lot of it is psychological, a lot of it is mental. People talk themselves out of things all the time, telling themselves they can't do it. If you tell yourself you can't do it, you won't be able to do it. If you tell yourself you can do it, then you've got a fighting chance.
How do you work with that with someone who's got that block, and they say to you, I can't, I can't, I can't?
I just make them try and try and try again, Ron. That's what I do. And you can't be negative, because if you're negative and you tell yourself you can't do it, it's never going to happen. Doesn't matter how strong you are or how good you are. If you haven't got the mental belief, it won't happen.
I think then that way of thinking then incorporates into all aspects of life then, doesn't it? You can take what you've learned, what they're learning from you, into whatever activity they want to do.
Definitely.
And especially, I guess, if they're coming to you, I mean, you know what? It's not even, I was going to say a young person, but it can be any person, really, can't it? I mean, they're coming to you, and just to have your mind opened into the possibility of doing something, I think that's an extraordinary thing when we can see that, okay, and the limitations are kind of in here. If we can release those, not just in my dancing, but if I want to do something else. Have you had stories about these kind of things happening with people? Or
I don't know.
even
I don't know that I
yourself?
get that deep with my students. I mean, I see it happening in classes while I'm with them, but I don't know. No one's ever sort of spoken about that side of life to me.
Because I think that's I think that's the kind of the great thing about doing kind of these kind of, whether it's artistic, dance, music, whatever. I think it transcends the discipline, the mindset which you talked about.
Definitely, definitely. It's gonna help. If you're a very negative person, I don't think you're going to get very far in life. But if you're a positive person with an open mind, you don't even have to believe that you definitely can do it. If you just believe in the possibility of it happening, that's far better for you than just going, no, it's never going to happen.
So where do you go now with urban play? And do you have any ideas or dreams that you want to go with it?
Yes, I would like. I would like it to. I would like it. It's been tough through the pandemic, so I didn't know if urban play would survive through the pandemic. So I'm still here, and I still have work. So I'm very happy. I would like it to grow as a company, so we can offer more classes to more people. And I've always had a show in my head using the music of Cameo.
Word up. And is it Candy? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to,
Yeah.
do a show, produce a show with the music of Cameo.
So have you written down how you would construct this show, or do you have an idea in your head?
Yeah, I have a very loose idea. I have a very loose idea. Um, yeah, the other show that I've kind of always wanted to do is a hip hop version of The Wizard of Oz. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what, on a big theatre stage? Is that what
yeah,
you're thinking of?
yeah. I think it'd be nice. I think it would work.
So what are the steps to get to that? I mean, is it just small steps at a time?
Huge financial steps, Ron. Costs a lot of money to put on a show. Yeah, that's what hinders most productions and most people's ideas of wanting to put on shows is the cost. I mean, the hiring of the space, the hiring of the theatre is a lot. The paying of all the dancers, all of the tech crew, the rehearsal space. You know, it's very expensive. You need a minimum of sort of 10 to 20 grand to put on a low budget, small production.
So how do we work around that? I mean, is it just, getting together with other like-minded people, raising money? How do we go about? Because I guess there's a lot of people out there who want to put on independent, productions, dance, whatever, dance music or whatever, but the money is the thing which keeps getting in the way.
Yeah.
How do we go about then, you know, artists of all kinds? How can we work together? I mean, it's one of the premise of this show is we get together and we talk about ideas and how do we go forward in producing things, because it is sometimes very expensive.
Yeah, it can be expensive. I mean, that's one of the things I miss most uh, about dance and performing and being in that side of the industry is being part of a crew. Because when you're part of a crew or part of a dance company, you're all there together, so it's much easier to achieve these things. You're like a little family, so it's really nice. But so I do miss being part of a crew or part of a dance company. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess it is. You could get together with like-minded people who, and it's time as well, Ran. It's having the time to do this kind of thing as well as running your business and teaching your classes and that kind of thing. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, anyone who's out there, shout me.
Yeah, because you know what? I just think, I've met so many people who've got such amazing ideas, dreams to put on, do things, and it's sometimes just that step to how do I go about doing it, which is a challenge. And it's, I guess, keeping that dream alive that it can be done.
Yeah, I've definitely got the dream. I think I'll be able to do it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is quite inspiring as well, because, there are lots of us ideas who want to do things. And you know what? If one of us can do it, because it can be done. That's the thing. It can be done. It's just finding a way of doing it. And I guess networking is a way of going about it as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So the easy way to do it is to rob a bank and have loads of money. Then you can do what you want when you want.
Yeah.
The hard way
Yeah.
is talking to people and finding a space that will accommodate you for reduced price and all that kind of thing. But that takes a lot of work, a lot of
Yes.
craft, and a lot of time.
Yes. So, what's your teaching schedule like at the moment?
It's good. It's good. I'm teaching every day, which I love. Um, I mean, it's been tough after the pandemic, but I'm teaching every day. I've got teachers that are also teaching for me, so it's good. We're getting there. We're getting kind of back to where we were pre-pandemic. So I'm just doing this at the moment.
So, how was it in that time when it was the time of the lockdown? Was it just completely?
Well, all I can say is thank goodness for Zoom. I know everyone's over Zoom and everyone hates it, but Zoom kept Urban Play alive. If it wasn't for Zoom, I'd have had nothing. So I'm really grateful for the internet and for Zoom and for the people who still kept coming to my classes even though they're on Zoom. Because I know it's not for everybody and a lot of people hate it. So yeah, I'm really grateful to Zoom. I never considered ever doing classes online. It never entered my head whatsoever.
I think this period has shown a lot of us that we're here right now, you know, and that fortunate to have this vehicle to do these things, because otherwise, it'd have been extremely challenging
Yeah, it
getting
would have
through these
been.
things. How have you found it in regards to teaching online?
It's not the same. As I say, I'm really grateful that I had the vehicle that I could do that, but it's not the same at all because you get nothing back, you get no energy back because it's just a screen. And I would have to mute people because you can't have all of that background noise. So it would just be me talking to the screen, which is really hard because you're giving all of yourself to nothing. It's hard. But yeah, so grateful for it. So grateful for it.
Lana, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
You too,
Thank you
Rob.
very much. It's been a long time, and you took me down memory lane again with the popping and locking, and maybe I might even do a windmill into a backspin somewhere where I can find a piece of lino, you know.
Brilliant.
And I apologize to the old school hip hoppers about not knowing forgetting the five, because the five parts, yes.
Tell me what they are, Brian.
Okay. Breaking, beatboxing, graffiti, rapping, DJing.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So you remember Beat Street, the king of the beat? You see him rocking that beat from across the street. Oh yes!
He still got it.
Lana, so is it okay if I put a link to your work if people want to find you for get coaching from you? Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure to speak to Lana after such a long time. And Lana, hopefully we can chat again maybe next year and see where you are with the project and see what's going on.
Definitely.
So thank you very much. This has been Conversation on Art, show number 25 with Lana, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.